I want to go back to that word witnesses. I'll read the verse again. It says, you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, in all of Judea and Samaria, and to the end of the earth. Well, that word witnesses in Greek is actually the word martyrs. Now, the word martyrs has some connotations, but someone who's a martyr, they actually die for their faith. And when Jesus was speaking to his disciples, the 11, because Judas has kind of done one, the 11 who were left, 10 out of those 11 disciples ended up dying for their faith. They went into all the world. They went to different places around the world to make disciples, just as Jesus had commanded, and it actually cost them their lives. And the one who didn't die was John. And John was actually boiled in oil and survived. So it's not like he had a sweet time of it. But it costs them everything. I'm not saying that we're going to become martyrs and that at all, so please don't hear that. But what I'm saying is there will be a cost. Choosing to follow Jesus and pick his plans over our own plans, there's a cost. Can I even speak? Choosing to share Jesus in London, there's going to be a cost to it. I'm not saying we're going to become martyrs, but there is a cost to be a witness in this city. It comes with a cost. It really does come with a cost. And it'll have a significant impact in our lives. But I believe that, there's this God-shaped vacuum in the heart of every human being. Well, the way that vacuum is filled is when we choose to follow Jesus. When we choose to follow him and live the way he calls us to live and do the things he calls us to do, we get that sense of fulfillment because we are living the life that we were created for, because we were created on purpose and we were created for a purpose. Before I ended up becoming a church pastor, I actually, when I was 18 years old, had a plan. I had a place at university to become a building surveyor. Do we have any surveyors in? No, it's cool. The reason I want to become a surveyor is not because I particularly like buildings. Sorry, Ian, who's an architect. But it's because the church I grew up going to was a church that didn't believe in hiring a pastor, but was actually led by a group of elders who were all men. It's still the same at my parents' church. And they were all men, and they were all very responsible and had good jobs, wore suits, and drove nice cars. And I was always passionate about my faith. And so I wanted to become a church leader because I wanted to do everything I could to serve God. And in the context I grew up in, church leaders were male, drove nice cars, and wore suits to work. So I thought, I need a job where I can do the same thing because I want to be a leader in the church. And so I got a place at university to become a building surveyor. I wanted to drive a BMW. I wanted to wear a nice suit. Now, some of that was a fleshly desire. I want to drive a nice car. I want to wear a nice suit. There was a fleshly desire to it, but some of it was because I really wanted to do what God was calling me to do, and that was, I felt, to be a church leader. Now, when I was 18 years old, I had my place at university ready for me to start in October, but I went to a Christian youth festival in Manchester in the August, and when I was at this Christian youth festival, God spoke to me and told me very clearly. I've only had God speak in this way a few times in my life, so it's very significant, and he was very clear, and God said, you're not going to become a building surveyor. You're going to work with children and young people in Liverpool. And so imagine my mum's delight when I went home and said, I'm not going to go to university. I'm going to volunteer for a youth work charity. And she's like, yay, that's what I've always wanted. No one in our family's ever been to university, and the tradition's going to continue. And so that's what happened. I didn't fulfill my mum's desires or the sensible thing. I did the thing that wasn't sensible because I had the place in university already sorted. I did the thing that wasn't sensible by volunteering to work for free, for no money at all, to do something completely other. You see, following Jesus' plan required sacrifice. It required me to do things where I know my mum and her friends thought I was crazy. Let's be real, she was probably correct. Mum, you're probably right, I probably am crazy. But that's what it required for me to follow Jesus, because he sets the destination and he sets the direction. In order for us to follow Jesus, we need to be willing. We need to be willing to give everything. Thomas Merton says, I really love this quote, the Holy Spirit teaches you to die. It's not very encouraging, is it? But the Holy Spirit teaches you to die. When we follow the call of Jesus in our lives, when we do what he calls us to do, the Holy Spirit who's within us helps us to do that. And when we think about that, he's helping us to give up our own desires. He's helping us to come to a place of death.